What the fuck? Wow. All the build-up for Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo, the interim champion versus the real champion. Aldo hasn't lost in 10 years, and Aldo knocks the dude out in 30 seconds. He climbs up on the cage. He's going bananas. Oh, dude, the fight's gonna be on a vine. Already done. I don't even see where he got him. Fuck me, son of a bitch. Wow. Conor wins. I don't even think he knows how he won. Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here tonight, talking all about UFC 194 and the main event. That all was about 30 seconds. I really can't believe how short this fight was. I really can't believe that there's people out there that had to pay money for this. But at the same time, people really don't complain about the Ronda Rousey fights that have been like this. The fight was 13 seconds, is what UFC is reporting it as. But wow. Basically, it was a show, bringing all these guys out to the ring with Conor McGregor coming down to the Irish folk music, followed up with the Notorious B.I.G. coming through with Notorious. And then we got Jose Aldo coming out to, what was that song? King of the City by Jay-Z, something like that. I believe it was off of that movie soundtrack for that Denzel Washington movie. I can't remember what it was. But you had the interim champion coming in against the real champion, Jose Aldo. Hasn't lost in 2 years. Of course, this is for the cover of UFC 2. Conor McGregor is going to be on the cover next to Ronda Rousey. Two of the biggest stars in UFC, of course, Ronda Rousey, who just lost her fight to Holly Holm on the big last UFC show that went down. But this caps off a fun weekend of fights. Of course, Frankie Edgar getting the win last night, and then I believe the German girl beating Paige Van Zant the night before. But this fight came down to the guys coming into the middle of the octagon. Conor McGregor sort of had his hands up, it was like he was trying to punch, but at the same time he was trying to play defense. They sort of traded back and forth. Conor McGregor came across with a left-hand cross, and then Aldo, basically, dodged that one, and then Conor McGregor threw another left hand that really connected with Aldo, and Aldo was going down to the mat, and as he was coming down, he really connected with the punch. Out of all three punches that were landed in this one, Jose Aldo's punch on his way down was harder than either of the other ones that Conor hit him with, and as Aldo fell to the ground, honestly, it was like a moment in time where Conor looked at him like he couldn't believe that he went down as well. Conor McGregor jumped on top and just pounded him twice with his fist. Hammer punch, and the referee jumped in and said, "This one's done." Conor McGregor immediately jumped up on the cage. I don't even think he knew what happened. It was like this fight was going to restart or something like that. It was over so fast. The UFC is saying that it ended in 13 seconds. Conor McGregor came into the center. He did his post-match interview and basically said nobody can take that left when he throws it. And he said this is for Ireland. He said that he was trying to soak in every second of the weigh-ins yesterday because he just didn't want to get off the stage. He didn't want to leave. When interviewed, Aldo, through his translator, basically said that the people out there, they didn't get a fight. He wants an immediate rematch. He says he wasn't in a fight and that he basically wants to show what he can do against Conor. We'll have to see what they want to do. For as long standing as a champion as Jose Aldo was and how many guys that he beat, throughout the whole weight class, we'll have to see. But I guarantee you that Jose Aldo will be getting a shot. More than likely, it might be after the Frankie Edgar fight that was set up last night by Frankie Edgar beating Chad Mendes. But then again, there's 3 fights in this division for Conor McGregor to go through. He's going to have to fight Aldo again. He's definitely going to have to fight Frankie Edgar. And I know that Chad Mendes, even though he might have to fight to get it and win, but Mendes deserves a rematch after, he put up such a fight against Conor without a camp and really put up a fight during that fight back in July. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you in the aftermath of UFC 194. Conor McGregor beats Jose Aldo in 15 seconds. Who would have ever thought that Conor McGregor would have done it for the Vine and knocked him out so fast? I mean, I will always remember Basically Conor McGregor looking at Jose Aldo on the ground before dropping down to give those big hammer punches to the head. Again, I'm like, what the fuck just happened? I mean, he was in shock just like we were in shock at home, basically seeing what was going down. Now, basically Conor McGregor has talked about the fact that he wanted to win the championship from Jose Aldo, and he wants to get out of this weight class, and he wants to move up higher. Lots of talk about basically UFC coming down with, higher drug testing and basically, weight cutting limits and, just sort of not letting guys use the IV bags in order to, get themselves back into, fighting, being ready after the fact of cutting so much weight after weigh-ins and then getting ready to, get into the octagon the next night. A lot of guys will be moving weight classes and things like that. But honestly, if Conor can stay in this weight class, I think that he definitely has 3 fights that people will pay for in this weight class. I mean, definitely everybody knows that there was lots of talk about this Jose Aldo fight. I maybe think that the fight in July would have been bigger than it was now. In the last week, I didn't hear as much about this fight as I had heard in the past. I don't know if people were still reeling from Ronda Rousey losing at the last UFC that went down to Holly Holm and just couldn't believe it. And maybe they just thought that maybe Conor McGregor was a little bit of a flash in the pan. Maybe he wasn't tested all the way until he got to here. He got that lucky break in the Chad Mendes fight and was able to squeak his way out of that. That was sort of his first real stiff competition. He sort of talked his way into the Jose Aldo fight, but definitely after beating Chad Mendes and definitely beating Jose Aldo, I'm not going to say that that Conor McGregor is one of the all-time greats, but definitely he deserves to be champion of this weight class. And I think that honestly, there's 3 fights in this weight class that people will pay for. Last night, on the Ultimate Fighter finale, the main event was Chad Mendes going up against Frankie Edgar. A very stiff, very good fight on paper. Definitely the first round TKO with Chad Mendes getting knocked out by Frankie Edgar. That surprised a lot of people. And Frankie Edgar is your new, on paper, new number 1 contender. Definitely, if you go and you think about, Ronda Rousey, she was told that she was going to fight Miesha Tate after Miesha Tate won her fight and was, told that she was the number 1 contender if she won that fight, and then basically had the fight swept away from her, and Holly Holm was given the fight. And on paper now, they look like they're geniuses for giving Holly the fight and Holly beating Ronda. But Frankie Edgar is told that he's the number 1 contender. It's not the big fight that I think a lot of people want to see. But Conor is going to probably hype this up and probably make it one of the biggest fights ever. Definitely Frankie Edgar is going to be able to talk a good game about basically, Conor McGregor hasn't pushed into a really good fight, and Frankie Edgar is going to be the guy to give it to him. And he's the guy that beat Conor in the one fight that he had that was really good with sniff competition. Jose Aldo was talked about as being the real deal for Conor and the biggest test that he was going to have, and Conor beat him in 13 seconds. Jose Aldo asked for a rematch. I believe that UFC is going to have to give Jose Aldo that rematch, whether if he bumps Frankie Edgar or if he has to get second in line. In my book, Jose Aldo didn't lose for 10 years. He was champion for 10 years. He deserves a rematch. I think that people would want to see Aldo versus McGregor and maybe see that there's going to be a real fight from these 2 guys. And honestly, the fight that I'm rooting for is Chad Mendes, who right now is in the back of the line, and he does deserve to be number 3. But he will always be looked at as that guy that opened up Conor McGregor's game. He took the challenge when Jose Aldo backed out with, I believe, 10 to 14 days to the fight with the rib injury. He was somewhere in between there. Chad Mendes stepped up to the plate because, he is a guy that was probably looking at, it was going to be a while before he got a shot to go after this championship. So he jumped to become interim champion. Him and Conor had a hell of a fight where Mendes is one hell of a wrestler, took Conor down on the ground and really showed the blueprints on maybe how to beat Conor McGregor some point in the future. And I think that he deserves another shot with a full camp. But he's a guy that's probably going to have to win a fight or maybe even 2 fights in order to get in line to go after Conor. So we're going to have to see what's going to be going down. But that's probably the timetable on what Conor's doing. If he can win these next 3 fights, then I can see him jumping up that weight class and maybe going after another championship. But for now, I think he's going to be stuck here because there's 3 fights that definitely UFC and Conor McGregor can sell and make a lot of money.